Welcome back to The Critique. Today we are rolling up our sleeves to look at a piece of political commentary. It's a script called Brett Cooper Exposes That Charlie Kirk Held Candace Owens Back. And it argues that after hypothetical assassination of Charlie Kirk, the American right fractures with specific criticism for Brett Cooper and Candace Owens.
Right, and then it contrasts all of that with a critique of the Super Bowl halftime show. It's a lot.
It's ambitious. So let's jump right in, because the script itself struggles to reconcile its stated moral high ground with its combative, insult-driven vocabulary.
It really does. I mean, that's the first thing that hits you.
The author spends the opening, setting up this very specific persona.
Yeah, they say it outright. I am a Christian. I value humility. I'm a sinner saved by grace.
Exactly. They're trying to be the adult in the room, the moral anchor who values sanity.
But then, a minute later, the mask just slips. Completely.
And we get hit with terms like
dingbat, talentless hack,
Looney Tunes.
And my personal favorite, speaking out of his backside.
It's such a shock to the system, You go from sinner saved by grace to a schoolyard bully in just a few sentences.
Exactly. And the problem isn't just that it's mean. I mean, political commentary can be sharp.
Of course.
The problem is that it just destroys the author's credibility. It's a massive breach of the contract they just signed with the audience. You can't claim the moral high ground while you're standing in the mud slinging insults.
Right. If you tell me you represent truth and Christ, and then you call a woman a dingbat,
You stop believing them. You start thinking you're just listening to another angry guy on the internet.
It completely undermines the whole ethos. So how do we fix this? The author obviously dislikes these people. How do they express that without
sounding like a cartoon character?
Yeah.
You have to elevate the vocabulary to match the persona. If you're going to be the sane conservative, you need to use the language of a political analyst, not a troll.
Okay, so take Bad Bunny.
Perfect example. Calling him a talentless hack is just lazy. It's a subjective opinion.
So instead of hack, you say what?
You critique the content. You say his performance was a celebration of hedonism that prioritizes shock value over musicality, or that it was culturally corrosive.
That's a huge shift.
It is. Corrosive implies actual damage. Hack just implies you're annoyed.
And what about the political insults? Looney Tunes, it's kind of funny, but does it work here?
It works in a comedy sketch. It doesn't work if you're trying to write a serious piece on the fracturing of the right. Calling the Nick Fuentes wing Looney Tunes actually minimizes them. It makes them sound silly.
Right. Not dangerous.
And if the author believes they are dangerous, then they need to use serious words. Call them radicalized factions or fringe extremists.
Ideological saboteurs.
I like that. That sounds like a real threat. Look at the part on Nick Fuentes. The scriptures calls his ideas disgusting and vile.
Which is just a feeling.
It's just an emotion. Don't tell me it's disgusting. Show me why it's antithetical to conservatism. Explain the danger. That demonstrates the truth the author claims to follow, instead of just, venting.
It turns a rant into a real diagnosis. But even if we clean up the words, we have to talk about the structure. The whole flow of this piece is, it's giving me whiplash.
It's jarring. We have to look at how the script pivots from a massive historical event to pop culture commentary.
It's a huge leap.
It is. I mean, we start with this incredibly heavy, hypothetical scenario, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, a political vacuum, a civil war in the party.
Life and death stuff.
And then, suddenly, bam, we're reading a review of the Super Bowl halftime show and complaining that there aren't subtitles.
It feels like going to a funeral and hearing the eulogist complain that the coffee is lukewarm.
That's a perfect analogy. It creates this tonal imbalance that makes you question the author's priority. It risks making the fracturing of the right seem as trivial as a Spotify playlist.
I get what they're trying to do, though. They see the Super Bowl as a symptom of the cultural decay Kirk was fighting.
And that is exactly how it needs to be framed.
But it's not, right now?
Not at all. Right now, it's a separate grievance. I'm sad about Charlie, and I hated the music. The fix is to weave the pop culture stuff in as evidence of the political crisis.
So how would that sound in practice?
Well, you stop making it a music review and you make it a cultural case study.
Okay.
You say something like, this disconnect at the Super Bowl illustrates exactly why Charlie Kirk's unifying voice is so desperately missed.
Ah, I see. So Bad Bunny isn't the subject, he's just a prop.
Precisely. He's the symptom. The disease is the lack of leadership. You could even move the whole Super Bowl segment to the beginning.
Like a cold open?
Yeah, use it as a hook. I was watching the Super Bowl and realized our culture is broken, and it made me think about Charlie Kirk.
That works much better. It sets the scene before dropping the heavy political hammer.
It respects the gravity of the main topic. You just can't mix the sacred and the profane so casually without losing your audience.
Okay, now let's get to the meat of the argument. The villains of the piece. The author is going after Brett Cooper and Candace Owens hard. They accuse Brett of molding into Candace and becoming a bad faith individual.
And this is the core of the political argument, but frankly, it's the weakest part of the script.
Why is that?
It's all telling, no showing.
It's the trust me bro school of journalism.
It really is. The script says, Brett Cooper praised Nick Fuentes. Okay, when? What did she say?
Right.
It says she's bad faith. Based on what? The listener is just asked to accept the author's interpretation without seeing any of the receipts.
And for an audience that might actually like Brett Cooper, which is a lot of people, that's just going to turn them off immediately.
Instantly, they'll just think the author is biased or jealous. If you want to convince someone that a popular figure is actually dangerous, you have to bring the evidence. You have to steelman her.
So walk us through that, the steelman concept.
So a straw man is when you make up a weak version of your opponent's argument and then knock it down.
Right, a caricature of their point.
Exact. The steelman is the opposite. You take their best argument, present it accurately and fairly.
And then you destroy it.
And then you destroy it with superior logic. The author needs to quote Brett Cooper direct. Find the actual clip where she talks about Fuentes.
So let's say she said something like, Nick Fuentes has a right to free speech even if he's wrong.
Okay, perfect. Use that quote. Then the author can argue, Brett defends Fuentes on free speech grounds, but by platforming him without challenging his core tenets on race, she is effectively mainstreaming his ideology. See the difference?
Huge difference. Now you're arguing against her actions, not just her character.
And look at the part about Piers Morgan. The script just says, Brett went on Piers Morgan. I agree the right is fractured, but her takes are disgusting.
It's a missed opportunity.
A huge one. Why are her takes disgusting? How does her diagnosis of the fracture differ from the author? The author should deconstruct her logic.
Brett argued the fracture is caused by X, but in reality it's caused by Y.
Exact. Replace it's disgusting with it's incorrect because. That's how you win an intellectual debate. If you just call her a dingbat who praises vile people, you're not convincing anyone who doesn't already agree with you.
You're just preaching to the choir.
And it feels like this author wants to convert people, not just vent.
Speaking of converting people or alienating them, we have to touch on the patriotism and language section. This is where the script critiques the Bad Bunny performance for being in Spanish.
This part. This is a minefield, and the author just walked right into it.
Yeah.
The script attacks him for speaking Spanish and implies that because it wasn't English, it wasn't American.
And there's that line, no one understood a word he was saying.
Which is just factually wrong. Spanish is the second most spoken language in the U.S.
But beyond the stats, it's a huge strategic error, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. The very movement this author wants to save is actively trying to court Hispanic conservatives.
On the grounds of God, family, hard work.
Exactly. And when you conflate American patriotism with English only, you are putting up a massive do not enter sign for millions of potential allies.
You're shrinking the tent.
It's just lazy argumentation. It's so easy to say he spoke Spanish, that's bad. It's harder, but way more effective to attack the values he was promoting.
So you pivot from linguistics to ethics.
Yes. Who cares what language the song was in? What was the song about? If it was about objectifying women or glorifying drugs, attack that. That's a critique a conservative abuela in Florida can agree with.
But if you attack the language,
she defends her culture. If you attack the degeneracy, she joins your side. It's a crucial distinction.
it's about finding those shared values.
And the author contrasts the Super Bowl with the turning point event. The contrast shouldn't be English versus Spanish. It should be hedonism versus holiness, or division versus unity. That is a winning argument.
And what about the claim that everyone tuned out of the halftime show?
It's just hyperbole. It makes the author sound out of touch.
Right.
Just phrase it as, many conservatives felt alienated. That's reasonable. Everyone turned it off is a lie, and the reader knows it.
You know, there's one moment in the script that I think is the key to fixing this whole section.
What's that?
The author mentions, almost as an aside, that some players praised Jesus after the game.
Yes!
They mention it, and then they immediately pivot back to attacking Candace Owens. It drives me crazy. That moment, the players praising Jesus on the biggest stage in the world, that's the victory.
That's the counterculture when the author is looking for.
Exactly. Why end the section on a sour note complaining about Bad Bunny? End it on the high note. Frame the players' faith as the ultimate rebuke to the halftime show. While the culture industry pushed Vice, these men proclaimed Christ.
That's powerful. It changes the narrative from look how much we're losing to look how we can still win.
And that fits the whole Christian persona the author started. Christians are supposed to be people of hope, not just grievance.
Okay, so looking at the big picture, the script has the raw materials of something really compelling. The passion is there.
Definitely. But the writing needs to reflect the seniority the author claims. They mention being 30, contrasting with a younger Brett Cooper. Well, passion without precision is just noise. Right now, this script is a lot of noise.
So let's recap the action plan. If you're rewriting this, what are the 4 big moves?
Okay, move number 1, tone alignment. Strip out the insults. No more dingbats, no more hacks. Use precise political language that fits your sinner saved by grace persona.
Move number 2, structural repair.
Fix the whiplash. Don't jump from an assassination to a playlist. Make the pop culture a symptom of the political crisis. Or, move it to the beginning as a cold open. Connect the dots.
Move 3, the steelman.
Yes. Bring the receipts on Brett Cooper. Quote her direct. Don't ask us to trust you. Show us her words. And then use your logic to dismantle her argument. Prove she's radicalized. Don't just assert it.
And finally, move number 4, expand the tent.
Drop the English-only argument. It's a loser. Pivot to a values-based critique. Attack the message, not the language. And please, please, highlight the players praising Jesus. Make that the climax of your cultural argument.
I really want to see the rewrite of this, especially that Brett Cooper section.
Me too. I think if the author can engage with her arguments intellectually, not just emotionally, they'll have a much more powerful piece on their hands.
It moves from I hate this person to this person is wrong, and here is exactly why.
And that is how you change minds.
Which is the goal, to persuade, not just to vent.
Precisely.
Listener, thank you for submitting this. It takes guts to put your political writing out there, especially when it's this personal.
Absolutely. The passion is there. Now just add the discipline.
We look forward to seeing your next draft. Take these notes, apply them, and send it back to us. We'll be here.
Can't wait.
Thanks for listening to The Critique. Keep writing, keep refining, and we'll see you in the next one.